YouTube, welcome back. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome into another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we are on board with Arcitys. This is from a Pro 10s lobby, and I had to cover this one because it is one of the best, most complete hard points that you'll see when it comes to Azhir Cave. So just to kind of lay everything out for you, on Arcitys teams, it's Arcitys, Apathy, Draza, Celium, and Priesta. So you got Arcitys from the Huntsman, you got Draza, the newcomer from OGLA, a couple Atlanta FaZe players from Celium and Priesta. Then on the opposite team, you have Slasher, you have Slacked, you have, and then a couple from the Dallas Empire, you have Illy and CRIMSIX, and then OGLA, TJ Haley. So as we get into this one, again, this is a complete dominant performance. Basically, almost everything you could expect to go the way of Arcitys' team ended up going their way. We'll go ahead and we'll cover it. They ended up putting CRIMSIX's team in the 80-point club, so completely dominant. But if we are talking about the actual analysis here, there's about 5 seconds left inside of P1. Arcitys team did get this right side spawn when it comes to P2, so they are going to have this beneficial spawn as it comes to P2. They are pushed up a little bit further, so that's something that, so P2 has kind of evolved over the course of the last 6 months or so, where if you had this back right spawn for P2, you basically got all of that time inside of P2. It was a really dominant hill to start the game. As things have moved along over the last 4-5 months or so, teams have done a really nice job of just going for kills. If you're the team that doesn't have that initial spawn, they've really went towards just getting kills and then worrying about time after that. So if you're the team that's spawning mid-map, kind of spawning at that mid-cave cut, then just get kills, do whatever you can to keep that team that has those initial spawns off the hard point, and you can start to set up a little bit of a spawn trap, and now that's not so beneficial to the team that got that initial right side spawn, and that's kind of what you're seeing here. So even though Arcitys' team is going to have like a 25-point lead or so going into P3, if you're CRIMSIX's team, you now have P3, and you can start to set up a spawn trap. It doesn't look like they're doing a great job of keeping Arcitys' team back inside of P2. So as teams leave P2, normally what you see, and again, this is 10s, so it's not like everything goes the way that it normally would when you're playing with your entire squad. But normally, like when Arcitys is trying to run through underpass right here, normally there would be somebody up in top yellow, or there would be somebody top stone, and they're really trying to keep you from getting out of your spawn, and that just really hasn't happened here. So it's a little bit odd even, right? Because after P3, CRIMSIX's team had that initial time inside of P3, and they only got like 10 seconds or so. So there was almost no resistance whatsoever. Looks like they might get the final 10 here, but we'll see what happens on rotations as we're rotating over to P4. This is another instance where Arcitys' team should be a little bit behind the 8 ball, right? But Draza comes in from behind, gets a 2-piece. Apathy also gets one. Arcitys is going to get pushed up to this heady right here, and now all of a sudden, they get this spawn also. So this is not how you're used to seeing things go, right? Normally the team that gets that left side P3 spawn, so left side of soccer field, they end up getting the majority of the time inside of P3, and then they have the initial spawns inside of P4, inside of Cave West. So that's just not how it's happening. Arcitys' team has been able to stroll right into P3. Once it rotated to P4, Arcitys and Draza both ripped off a couple kills. Now they're inside and just not allowing CRIMSIX's team to get back inside. So really nice job of map control. Now we've started with like 15 seconds left. You can see ahead of Arcitys right there, there are 2 arrows on the left-hand side of the map that are already a little bit ahead. So if Arcitys was the first person on rotation for his squad, then that would be a little bit of a late rotation, right? You want to rotate a little bit earlier, but his teams were ahead. They're able to get the kills. Draza's there. You can see that Arcitys spawned up over here inside of KV, so they got these. Ooh, that would have been a nice turn right there on TJ. Didn't quite get it all. But Now, if you're Arcitys team, I mean, you've already got an 80-point lead. And it's really odd to think, right? As we've been on board with Arcitys, it doesn't even look like much is really going their way. It's not like they're inside the hill getting 3 and 4 pieces. It's just kind of, I don't know, there's just not a lot of resistance. It's really odd to see. So with that, let's go ahead. Let's listen into this squad a little bit. And one thing that I want you to focus on, because we kind of said this yesterday, in yesterday's video, we covered Mac melts. So we did a point of view from Mac, from the New York subliners. It's the first time that we did it. But I mentioned that the communication from Mac isn't probably where you would expect it to be because he's a rookie, first time being called up this year, halfway through the year. But when you're listening to Arcitys, just try to key in on what type of in-game leader he is, because he does such a good job of telling his teammates where to go, where to rotate and make sure different lanes and routes are covered and who we're missing and calling out individual people. Just kind of pay attention as we go ahead and rotate here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn up the volume, let you guys listen in. Let's hear what Arcitys is talking about moving forward here into the second set of rotations.
I'll fucking got him. Nothing bottom yellow. Behind yellow, behind yellow, behind yellow. Just side behind yellow, behind yellow. Yellow on you. Weak, bottom yellow. Bottom yellow. Got Eddie. Dead! Bottom left. Nice.
Let's go.
If you haven't been able to tell already, sometimes these 10s aren't quite as serious as normal pro scrims, right? Most of the time on this channel, we do cover scrim analysis. So pro 10s can be a little bit different at times, especially when you have a 100-point lead. So it is what it is.
They're front. He just hit yellow flag. They're front, boys. They're front, boys.
CRIMSIX is top. Scrim, he has an arrow up.
Short, dead. He's camering me, dead.
Oh my god, I got out.
I spot Sam.
I think it's smoke.
Oh
Look at that, Guys, push him in. I'm stunned. One more.
How right above you, dead.
Half.
Nice.
Short, Cave.
You need me, chow him? I'm gunning him.
This is wild. I don't know what to say. They're just... I will say that a couple of maps have gone this way, right? So it's not the most, I don't know, it's not the most competitive scrim that we've ever had, which is really why I wanted to showcase it, just because one team does such a nice job of controlling the map, controlling spawns over the other team. So that's really why I wanted to show this one, but you can tell that these guys are just, they're having fun, right? And sometimes you just have to do that.
Push through.
And blue. And art.
Blue, LED. Where the fuck's blue? Dead!
Mid.
Got Heady weak. It's CRIMSIX weak.
I need two there.
Nice.
One more.
You're over CRIMSIX. He baited flasher.
CRIMSIX dead. He's fucking mid. He's going spiral.
Hey, I'm getting out of time.
Goes in spiral right now. Free kills.
Top nest. Fridge. Nice shot.
Hey, got it.
Flasher fridge.
TJ blue.
That's him right there, dead.
But yeah, I mean, so just to kind of put things into perspective here, if you're thinking about all the different map rotations throughout the first set of rotations and the second set of rotations, Arcitys team, even when it went to P3, like they're inside of P3 right now, they haven't had really map control, and they're the team that's getting the majority of the time here. Now as it's about to rotate over to P4, they definitely don't have position inside of P4 either. Look at where Arcitys just spawned. He spawned over towards top stone, so he was looking there for a little rotation through mid from those that are exiting P3. Nice shots there from TJ, but it's 223 to 79, and they're just controlling the map, right? Priesta right there inside of P4 gets a 3-piece. There's a 4-piece. Arcitys gets one. Apathy gets another. So they're just doing a great job of just... It's not even really on rotations, because both the first and second set of rotations, they didn't have the map. They didn't have map control inside of P3, didn't have it inside of P4, but they're just slaying out. I mean, if you're looking at the kill feed in the left-hand side, Cellium, Apathy, Priesta, everybody's just filling up the kill feed, and sometimes that's what it comes down to, right? So when it comes to different pros like this, and if you don't quite have the strategy that you would normally have with all of your other teammates, then sometimes it's just... it comes down to who kills more than the other, right? It's not necessarily about who wins rotations or coordinating, making sure you're getting all the cuts and stuff like that. So with that, as we look at the scoreboard here, Arcitys did go 21 and 22, which was actually the worst on his team, but Priesta went positive 8, Apathy went positive 8, Draza positive 7, Celium positive 11. So really big numbers there. When you look down below, Crim did pretty good, but Illy was negative, TJ negative, Slasher went double negative, Slacked went double negative. So really, I mean, what are you going to do, right? If you have two of probably, I mean, Slasher, I mean, he's had a fantastic year. So if you have two pros like that, which are probably those that are picked up pretty early on their team, going double negative, that's going to be a tough one to win. So with that, guys, just a little bit of a different change of pace today. Figured we would cover this 250 to 80 victory by Arcitys team just because they did such a great job of slaying out. And sometimes I like to show that if you slay out more than everybody else, then there's potential for you to get the win there. So if you're around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Anything in the comments, put them down below. Thank you guys so much. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.